Coming up on Valley News Live at 10, two locals are speaking out about a scam they say it cost them thousands. People gathered to protest today after a local doctor was fired following statements at a school board meeting. Plus, the latest after a deadly shooting at an Idaho mall. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
It's not right. It's not fair, and I don't want it to happen to anybody else.
That's the emotional response from a woman who says she was the victim of a rental scam, but she isn't alone. Good evening, everyone. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor sat down with two women who are speaking out tonight after losing thousands of dollars.
Brandy and Bethany are meeting for the first time, but the circumstances surrounding their introduction aren't what either had hoped for.
People, why do you take advantage of people? Do you not have any compassion?
Both women say they are victims of a rental scam. They say they've lost hundreds of dollars combined.
I was looking for a house because we need something bigger. And I was just going through Facebook, as everybody does, looking for places to rent. And then I seen this one house pop up.
I just recently moved back up here from Florida.
The ladies were drawn to the home listing near Lindenwood Park because they say they were in desperate need of new living arrangements, but didn't expect to be a part of a scam. Bethany said after originally reaching out about the home, she drove by to see it for herself. There, she met a man living next door who said he also owned the home from the listing.
He was telling us about the property, but my boyfriend was there and he was talking to him about the house and how much it is a month, and that was the same as what he was saying on the listing.
Both women were told other people were interested in renting the house, and if they wanted it, they had to put a deposit down to hold it.
The first time around, with the application fee was $100. The deposit was $900, and then for my animal, it was $250.
As for Brandy, she says she electronically sent the man more than $700.
You don't take from people. I'm a single mom. I'm worried about how am I supposed to buy a loaf of bread?
Afterwards, she says she began to see some red flags.
I said, okay, well, can I view inside the house? We were supposed to meet on last Monday, a week ago, at 4:30 at the house. And then he said, oh, his wife went into labor. He can't meet you.
But because Bethany physically met who she believed was the owner, she continued with the rental process, including signing a lease.
He said, since I signed the lease agreement, that I need to pay the first month's and the last month's rent up front.
And so she did, bringing her losses up to nearly $4,000. And after being a victim of a scam, one of the women says she has a new view on trust.
I don't trust people, especially now.
In Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
One of the women did file a police report. She says officers got in contact with the possible owner who denied knowing anything about a scam. If you need help with an issue in your community, you can call our whistleblower hotline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just call 701-369-3187. Leave your tip and we'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. To the forecast, changes are coming, some as early as tomorrow. Hutch joins us now with a first look. Hutch?
Stacey, thanks so much. Here's what you need to know. There is a major storm system impacting much of the western United States. It's heading our way, so although we were quiet and cool today, we do have changes in the offing. Here's a look at the Grand Forks area thanks to our friends at Home of Economy. Temperatures now still in the 40s, for most of us mid 40s, but out to the east it is a little bit cooler in places like Wadena, Bemidji, and Baudette. Take a look at this. Now, wind speeds already out to the west are lighting up the color out there. We have gusts over 40 miles per hour in Mobridge. Bismarck is at 33 miles per hour. Here in the valley, we have a few areas already getting gusty. Overnight, we're expecting the wind to pick up ahead of this system. So we do have a few things to be watching as we go through the week, and those things include the winds that will gust over 40 miles per hour tomorrow. The rain arrives for most of us on Wednesday. It could be significant for some. Then Halloween, we have another hitch in the giddy up. We'll go over all of that. So grab the spurs and we'll let you know what's coming here in a bit.
Yeehaw. All right, thanks, Etch.
Yeah.
22-year-old Arthur Colley entered a plea in the brutal and random attack of 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson. Colley entered an Alford plea this afternoon to his murder, robbery, and aggravated assault charges. That means while he doesn't admit guilt, he acknowledges there is enough evidence to convict him. It happened June 4th. Documents say a garbage man was driving through the Party City parking lot and witnessed Colley leaning over the victim with one hand on her nose, the other on her throat. Video surveillance shows he spent around 25 minutes attacking the victim before running off. Documents say Colley told investigators he suffers from multiple personality disorder and used meth the day before the attack. The St. Louis County Attorney's Office announced today that charges have been filed and they've taken over the investigation into a sexual assault between football players at Proctor High School in Minnesota. Earlier this month, multiple students spoke publicly about the locker room assault and the video that spread on social media. The students said 2 football players held down a teammate as a third used an item to sodomize him. The head coach resigned from his position last week. The case led school leaders to cancel the football team's entire season. Though masks are not required district-wide in West Fargo, they are now mandated at Brooks Harbor Elementary. The mandate is in effect today through November 2nd. 22 students at Brooks Harbor have tested positive for COVID, making up nearly half of all elementary-age cases district-wide. Overall, cases remain low at less than 0.7% for all students and staff in the school district. Meanwhile, in East Grand Forks, masks are no longer required after tonight's school board vote. The district began the school year with a recommendation for masking before switching to a requirement for those in 6th grade and below. There will also now be looser restrictions for visitors at the school as well as for students during lunch. In Fergus Falls today, hundreds of people gathered near the Lake Region Healthcare Facility to show support for recently fired General Surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Horak. Tonight, the Lake Region Medical Group Board released a statement saying the reasons for his release are confidential, adding the decision was made by his peers who serve on the Medical Group Board, not by Lake Region Healthcare, the hospital where Dr. Horak practiced general surgery. Many people speculate it has to do with the statements he made earlier this month at the Fergus Falls School Board meeting where he spoke out against their mask mandate. Today they came out in droves to speak on behalf of Dr. Horak.
If they can do something like this to an individual, a good man, a prominent individual in our community like Dr. Horak, how soon is it that they can do that to us? That they can bully us, that they can attack us, that they can just turn off the switch and cancel us.
You can read the full statement from the Lake Region Medical Group on our website, valleynewslive.com. A protest today outside the Mayo Clinic drew several hundred people demanding the end of vaccine mandates. According to the clinic, unvaccinated employees have until December 3rd to get the shot before the hospital puts them on unpaid leave. Not everyone in attendance of today's protest was a Mayo Clinic employee. Those who were said they worry not only about their own livelihoods, but also about the patients they may no longer be able to work with. A new study shows COVID-19 was likely here and spreading in the U.S. and Europe before we may think it was. The study is based on a model of transmission during the first wave of the pandemic, and it shows COVID-19 was likely in Europe and the U.S. as early as January 2020. That's because many infections could have gone undetected while testing was highly limited. Many North Dakotans are now permanently working from home, including some state employees, and hundreds of those employees are now working remotely from different states. According to the Office of Management and Budget, 643 state employees are currently working out of 43 other states. 260 of them reported to work from Minnesota, while 42 are working from Texas, 29 from Florida, but they're not all permanent remote workers.
We don't know for sure that all of those folks are not North Dakota residents. There could be some folks in that mix who continue to be a North Dakota resident, but are assigned because of their job to work out of state for more than 30 days. They would show up on this list as working, as being reported to risk management, working out of state for more than 30 days.
An employee who works out of state does get some tax credits to avoid paying income tax in both states. The office estimates North Dakota loses about $350,000 in lost income taxes every year as a result. At least 2 people are dead and 4 injured following a mass shooting in Idaho. Dina Demetrius reports that among the injured is a Boise police officer who responded to the call.
Gunshots rang out Monday at the Boise Town Square Mall. The initial reports of shots fired were made to police shortly before 2 p.m. The first units were on the scene within minutes.
Officers encountered an individual matching the suspect's description, and there was a exchange of gunfire that ensued shortly thereafter, resulting in the officer's injury, as well as the suspect being taken into custody.
The mall was cleared while officers went store to store searching for other victims.
We believe that there was only a single shooter involved and that there is no ongoing threat or danger to the community at large.
Investigators said there was no immediate indication as to why the gunman targeted the mall.
We really cannot at this time speak to any motivation behind it or anything else that may impact the investigation.
The entire mall was closed after the incident. It was not immediately clear if the shooting victims were customers or employees. Dina Demetrius, CBS News.
Police haven't indicated the conditions of the injured victims or have yet to publicly identify the suspect. Still ahead tonight, how North Dakota leaders are getting creative when it comes to reducing the stigma around addiction.
We started our work week with 20s and 30s across the valley, and it was a cool one, but above average for some of us here in the Southern Valley. Changes are in the offing and a good chance of some widespread rain. Your forecast details are next.